if you're doing really well, I don't see any reason why you shouldn't cost your product or service very well. Hi, Zayuma lovers. Good to see you here again. Okay, so in today's video, we'll be teaching costing. Costing is basically attaching the fee to a good or service. As a fashion designer, it is important you know how to cost your product or service so you're not working for free or running hard to lose. Fashion is an high income skill or probably a skill that makes you live comfortably. So if you're still struggling with being poor, then something is wrong. It could be bad technical skill, it could be bad customer service, it could be poor costing. So if you're doing really well, I don't see any reason why you shouldn't cost your product or service very well. So now let's dive into it. To calculate cost as a fashion designer, you have to consider different factors. We have the direct cost and the indirect cost. So the direct cost are the raw materials that you need. The raw materials, the lining, the zip, the thread, the trimmings, the fabric, all of those, the things that you're going to like see physically, right? That you need to make the garment. Those are like the direct costs. So I'm going to be listing them here. So I've listed out all the items under direct cost and indirect costs. We already said direct costs, they are the raw materials. So the lining, the zip, hairstay, bra cup, hemming gum, thread, trimmings, pattern paper. So these are like the basic things that you will need to make a garment. So we're not talking about plenty beading, or we just want to have a costume for like a basic, you're making like a basic garment, basic dress, right? And then so the indirect costs, they're the rent, utilities, under utilities, power supply, fuel, etc., labor, and then the profit margin, how much you want to make on each outfit. So now you have to put a price to all of this. So I'm going to be putting a price to all of this. I'll try as much as possible to be realistic with the current price. So for lining, so let's say for you're using 3 yards of lining, a yard is 700. So that would be three times 700, and that is 2,100. The zip, you're using one zip, if you're making a dress, it's obviously one zip, so that is 300 naira. This costs are in naira, not dollars. Then hairstay, you're using like, let's say you're using a yard and a half of hairstay. A yard of cotton hairstay is 1,500. So if you're going to be using a yard and a half of that, so that's 2,250 naira. Then the bra cup is 700, depending on the size, but between 700 and 800, 700 naira. Hemming gum, you're not going to use a lot of hemming gum, but let's just say you're going to use one roll of hemming gum is 1,000 naira. You're just going to use a part of it, right? So let's say a part of it, let's just say 200 naira. Thread, one thread is 200. To make an outfit, you need at least 3 threads because you're going to be overlocking the outfit. So that's going to be 600. Then trimmings, optional. So we can even remove trimmings because it's actually optional. We're just doing basic costing. Then pattern paper. One pattern paper costs 150. 150. So you're going to be needing at least 2 pattern papers. So that is 300. So these are the things you need for the direct cost, right? And then you move to the indirect cost. For you to calculate your rent, what you have to do is, so let's say for example, depending on the location that you are, your rent is 1.5 million, right? So 1.5, for you to calculate your rent, 1.5 million. Then you also need to, on an average, how many dresses do you make in a month? So if my rent is 1.5 million, 1.5 M divided by 12, because the number of months we have 12. So 1.5 million, 1.5 million divided by 12. That will give us about, we have 12 months in a year. So, and that will give us about 125,000, right? This 125,000, then you now divide how many clothes do you make in a month on an average. So let's say on an average, you're always able to make, give or take, 18 dresses, right? So that is 125,000 divided by 18. 18 dresses divided by 18. So that will be, you do your calculation. So that's 6,944, approximately to 6,950. Okay, so that's for rent. For utilities, how much do you spend on fuel and power supply every month? So let's say on power supply, give or take, you spend about 25,000 naira plus for fuel, give or take in a month you spend about, give or take, let's just say 50,000 naira with the situation of things. So that's 50,000 plus 25,000 naira. That's 75,000 naira divided by. Remember that we said that on an average you make about 18 outfits in a month. So that's 75,000 naira divided by 18. That will give us 4,166. Just approximate it to 4,200. So for utilities, we are spending 4,200. So that's for utility. Then, so for labor, this labor is divided into two: labor for your workers, and then for yourself. So okay, for yourself, we can just make it design time. Design time. So for labor, how much do you pay your workers? So let's say give or take, you're paying your workers between 80 to 100,000. So let's just say 100,000. So that would be, and you guys make 18 outfits in a month. So that would be 100,000 divided by 18, and that will be 555. So I will just approximate it to 5,600. So for this one, for the worker, it is, for the labor, it is 5,600. Then the design time is the time it will take you to go to the market, for you to draft pattern, for you to transfer to fabric. So let's say give or take, you're spending roughly 6 hours, 6 hours to, so maybe 2 hours on the market, 3 hours to draft your pattern. So you're roughly spending for the design time, you're spending like 6 hours or 7 hours to get all things ready. So 6 hours, then you now determine how much do you want to pay yourself for each hour. So give or take, you're paying yourself, let's say 3,000 naira. So that would be for each hour. So that would be, and you know that it is six, you're spending 6 hours. So that would be 6 times 3,000. So, and that would be 18,000. So you write 18,000. It is from this design time that you can actually even pay yourself salary, because if you don't have this, if this is not part of your fee, you can't even pay yourself salary. It means that you're going to be working for everything, but you're going to be working for your tailors, working to pay rent, working to buy fuel, but you don't have time to do anything. You don't have money to pay yourself. And then the maintenance fee. So the maintenance fee, of course, how much do you spend as you're using your machines? Things are depreciating. Your generator will probably need a repair. So maintenance fee, how much do you spend on maintenance every month? So let's say, give or take, every month you spend about 25,000 naira on maintenance. So that will be 25,000 divided by 18 outfits. So that will be, so this is giving us 1,300. I'll just approximate it to 1,400. So maintenance fee is 1,400. All of this that we are doing it concerning just one outfit. And then the profit margin. Some people also had the miscellaneous. Miscellaneous is okay, something just came up which you didn't plan. You need to buy another lining, or you need to buy another thread. Something is not, I mean, that's like miscellaneous fee. So you can also have the miscellaneous fee. So let's say miscellaneous fee before profit margin. So let's say miscellaneous fee. Miscellaneous fee is about, so let's just say 2,000 naira miscellaneous fee, right? And then the profit margin. So profit margin is, by the time you're done calculating all of these things, is it 200 for fashion? Ideal profit margin is between 100 to 300%. You can do more depending on the brand, depending on your target audience. So the brand, the target audience will also have influence on the kind of profit margin that you want to. Of course, Gucci, Ferragamo, their profit margin is probably maybe like 1,000 plus. Do you understand? So you just have to be very realistic. Where is your brand at? That will also determine how much profit margin you want to add. So now, so give or take, you want to do about maybe 150%. Ideally, note your profit margin should always be between 100 to 300%, but it can be more. So now what I'm going to do right now is you add together all these ones that we've done here. So now what we're going to do is 2,100. So this is approximately 6,450. Then you come to this aspect as well. You calculate. So this is giving us 38,150. So you had the direct cost, the direct and indirect. You had both together. So 6,450 plus 38,000. That is 4 44,600. You already know that on an average, I make 18 outfits in a month. So which means that on an average, if I'm charging anybody without me not even having any profit to it, I have to charge nothing less than 44,600. And this one that you're charging 44,600, you're not even making profit though. Like you're just working for free. You're not even making loss. You're only just working for free. Because if you're not working for free, basically, because but you don't have enough to run advertisement, to build the brand, to to scale up easily, because you don't have enough, you don't have a reservoir, because most of the time what you charge only covers both for the direct and indirect cost. So now if you now want to now add your profit margin to it, your profit margin is 150%. So what you have to do is, remember that we said we are doing 150%, and then by the time when we added this and this together, it gave us 44,600. So the 150%, what you have to do is 150 divided by 100 times 44,600, and this should give you 66,900. So this 66,900, you will now add it to this original cost, because you can't. So that is going to be your profit margin. You will now add this 66,900 to this original cost. So that will be 66,900 plus 44,600, and that will be 111,500 naira. So which means that if you are going to be charging your client and you're going to be making 150% profit margin, you have to make it you have to charge nothing less than 111,500. So if you're working with clients that are not willing to really pay, you can reduce your profit margin to like 100% or even 50%, just to make sure that you keep working. But whatever you are doing, make sure that you do not charge nothing less than 50%, in fact 100%, because at the end of the day, you really realize that you are just working overtime, working, but there's nothing left for you to, like, there's nothing left in the bank account for you to scale up the business, for you to buy more machines, for you to hire um more skilled workers, for you to run advertisements, for you to even live a good life. Because of course you want to probably go on vacation once in a year, or you want to gift people things. You don't have that reservoir, because you're basically charging just what will accommodate to make the outfit, but not what will be enough for you to also do other things for the business. So basically this is how to go about um costing. And you also need to understand that ideally, if you this is just a basic costing class, because ideally you are also supposed to, everyone that is working with you, whether it is an office assistant, it is a pattern maker, it is this, their salary, you are supposed to add it to the costing. That is the reason why you see some people charging $2,000, $3,000, not because they feel like charging that, but because so that whatever they are making can also pay their workers, and also they have um reservoir, they have more, they have leftover in the bank account to do other things. I hope you found this useful. Please go try as much as possible to recalculate your your costing procedure, just to make sure that you're not working for free or you're just running at loss. See you in the next class. Bye.